And welcome back, Marketplace Law today. We're going to be talking about kind of more of a discussion we started earlier in the week about bankruptcy, what your options are in the event you have debt issues, and attorney Laura Nesbitt is back with us. Now, before we get into this deep discussion, something equally as deep and important, who's your favorite Batman?
Definitely Christian Bale.
Yes. Christian Bale.
I just love his voice.
Sorry, did the jury intimidate you at all to say that?
Okay. No, that was my first answer earlier.
Good to know. All right. And in fact, keep chiming in over there. You've got Cameron taking your votes on Facebook. So let's get to our discussion, though. We talked about Chapter 7 as an option for people who need to file for bankruptcy. 13, Chapter 13, what in the world does that mean?
Yes, Chapter 13 is similar to Chapter 7 in that it's providing a bankruptcy filer with protection under the United States Code from their creditors.
Oh, okay.
The main difference in the overarching principle of Chapter 13 is that it's a repayment plan. So certain debts are being repaid prior to eliminating all of the debt.
Who facilitates the repayment?
There's a trustee in every bankruptcy case, and the Chapter 13 trustee is the individual collecting the payments and distributing them to the creditors.
So if I am someone who wants to file bankruptcy, why in the world would I want to repay if I'm having to pull the bankruptcy card anyway?
Absolutely. That's a good question.
Okay.
A lot of times it offers more protection for assets. So if you have assets that maybe are not exempt and would be taken under a Chapter 7, a Chapter 13 would not take those assets.
Is that right?
Also, a lot of times clients are struggling with student loan debt. Those repayments are paused during a Chapter 13.
Right.
People may be behind on car payments, behind on mortgage payments, in foreclosure. Chapter 13 repayment allows those debts to be caught up so that those assets can be retained.
So who would you recommend that type of Chapter 13 versus a 7 for?
Yes. A lot of times when I see tax debt, it's not dischargeable in a Chapter 7. So if a client were to go through it with a Chapter 7, they would be left with a lot of tax debt, or a client that is behind on car payments and says, I need my car for work, I just can't get caught up on these payments.
Gotcha.
That's okay. We can keep the car and we can repay the car and maybe even lower the interest rate and extend out the payments so that that monthly payment is lower.
Gotcha. Is that impacting your credit as much as a Chapter 7 would?
It's a little different.
Okay.
The credit report allows it to report for up to 7 years in a Chapter 13 as opposed to 10 years in a Chapter 7. And since it is a repayment plan, the on-time repayments count towards the credit score as far as credit worthiness and ability to repay.
So they see that you are making, in good faith, an attempt to pay these things back.
Yes, exactly.
Interesting, huh? Okay, so we talked about 7 today, we're 13 today, we've talked about 7 before.
Yes.
Now, for a lot of people, they're probably at that same decision, that jumping off point. Is it still something that you would not recommend for somebody to go the bankruptcy route?
Maybe.
It just depends.
Okay. And that's why it's important to get legal advice.
Right.
And that is another reason I offer that free consultation initially for a new client, so that we can just determine whether Chapter 7, Chapter 13 is an option at all, what would be the best option, and if not, what else we can do, maybe like a debt settlement or some other kind of option, which we also help clients with.
And tomorrow we'll do a checkup, right?
Yes,
okay,
yes.
Tomorrow we'll go through some of this debt and we'll do a checkup. Maybe that'll give people an idea whether or not it's time to come see you.
That's right.
Okay,
Exactly.
Thank you very much. We've had the information on the bottom there too, laurahelps.com. It's the Nesbitt Law Firm. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, Sean.